Hi, I'm Esteban Kelly, and I'm a worker owner and trainer with AORTA, which is the Anti-Oppression Resource and Training Alliance. We're a worker co-op that works with different groups to support them with facilitation and training and sometimes conflict resolution. And right now I'm just going to explain a little bit about how we use a process of creating community agreements as a second step within an overall process for conflict resolution. We find that creating community agreements is really important so that everyone who's involved in a conflict resolution process in that moment feels ownership over what you create as your agreements. That means that the agreements can reflect what their values are, as well as any of the ways that they are most comfortable being honest and real, and sometimes that can include being able to have elevated voices, or to use foul language, or to shout. All of those things are up to the people in the room, as long as they're agreed to. We find that the most important thing is for people to be able to really be true to themselves and be honest, and a lot of that means not feeling like they're coerced into adhering to a set of cultural norms of what does it mean to be a good communicator. So people need to be able to tap into their passion and their true feelings, as well as anything else that it takes for them to really feel like they can listen well and feel like they can be heard. That might include agreements to say we will or we won't interrupt one another, or ask clarifying questions, or we might have something that feels like a talking stick. Those are all things that are up to the people in the room, and I think as a facilitator you want to be sure to not assume what people's norms are. Oftentimes when I'm facilitating conflict resolution processes, I'll offer suggestions or options of the different kinds of things that they could include or not include. And then what I do is I actually write them down with the group. I'll write them down on either a small sheet of paper if we're sitting down at a table, or a bigger sheet of paper if we have a common wall that we're sort of looking at together. And those can provide us with a really good reminder anytime anyone is violating any of those agreements or veering from what our stated goals are. We call that technique, as facilitators, we call that technique triangulation. So instead of you needing to interrupt one particular person, you can sort of triangulate and reference a sheet of paper where you said, remember, these are the things that we're agreed to today, and I'm just reminding everyone that we're doing these things, and so it is or isn't okay for you to interrupt or raise your voice, or we're remembering to pass around the talking stick, whatever it is, or we're remembering not to use our cell phones during this process. The last thing that I say is just that everyone really needs to try the process on in good faith and out of respect for one another. They need to respect the process and respect the option that we've all created to really see how far we can get by sitting down together and working through some of our issues together. So I use the community agreements inside a conflict resolution process as a job description, and I reference it as such, that by deciding what the agreements are that we're going to use for that session, that gives me, as a facilitator, a clear description of what my role is, how active or passive I'm going to be in intervening, and what agreements I'm going to hold everyone to throughout the process.